What's your biggest fail when it comes to online dating? Chatted with them a year by phone. Once we met we had nothing to talk about, and it was the most awkward encounter of my life. Not trying it sooner. At the end of the day, we are all just people looking to connect and share a Netflix account. Same. Spent 9 years trying to find a girl going to parties and the club. Turns out I'm fairly shit at that, which probably wasn't all that good for my self-esteem either. A female friend then thought it would be fun to create a Tinder profile and swipe for me during a party. Spend the next few days being mind blown at getting matches, sucking at texting, progressively getting better at it. A few months later going on a ton of dates, getting better at that as well, and finally finding my current girlfriend of soon 2 years. Developed more at flirting and understanding dating in those 6 months than from birth up until that point. Oh man. The first time I contacted someone, it was via the Onion personals, which were really a thing in 2005. I just made fun of a band she said she liked. I wrote something like, "My only problem is that you are into band." She replied, as she should have, "My only problem is that the only thing you offer is a criticism." I still cringe. Matched with someone on a dating website before Tinder. Got to talking, seemed like a chill dude, even though there were red flags. He insisted we were dating before we met, and I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone. Agreed to meet up with him at a cafe by work. Organized with my receptionist she would ring me at an allotted time and tell me I had to come back to work, so I had an out. Met with the guy for coffee, it seemed well enough, then my girl rang me, so I told him I had to get back. His response was, "I've got my work van here. Do you want to jump in the back and have a quickie?" I noped out of there and went back to work. A couple of months later he ended up coming into my work to see my boss. I made polite small talk with him then. When he left my boss called me into her office to ask how I knew him. Turned out he was married to my boss's niece, and I dodged a fucking bullet. Using Plenty of Fish, the free dating site. It was like the Netto of dating sites. I chatted briefly with one woman before telling her I was going out for a few drinks. Next day I checked my messages and she had sent some. It started with, "Why don't you come round to mine and get drunk together?" Progressing to, "Why are you ignoring me?" Then to, "I think you're gorgeous and we will be good together," and finally, "Don't you fucking ignore me." I sent her a message the next day to never contact me again. I once told a guy via text I had to go because my lunch break was over. When my shift ended there were tons of angry messages from him asking where I was and why I left so suddenly. I told him it was because my break was over and I can't text when I'm at work. He then started apologizing to me and told me he was afraid he had lost me and that I hated him. We had known each other for 3 days and we had never met in real life. Went on a date with a girl from Tinder one time who told me that she found children very attractive. After that I stopped mentioning that I had a child on my profile and took down the pic of me and my daughter and just brought it up with the girls that I felt were likely to stick around after meeting in person. Not realizing how much can be lost in the absence of voice inflection and physical social cues. Not being exciting or witty enough in the text game. In real life my expressions and demeanor save me, not so much online. Making a profile then never signing back in, even when I get an email notification that someone's interested. Getting hundreds of matches on Tinder, but not going on a single date with someone I initially met from the app. Not capitalizing on those hot singles in my area. Putting all my eggs in one basket. Once I start a conversation with one person, I just stick with that person until I know it's not going to go anywhere. I can't deal with trying to remember stuff about 2+ people at the same time. I don't mind though if the person I'm talking to is talking to more than one person, as long as if we are on a date, they are not on the phone to them or mix us up. Most of the fails are typical not super hot guy problems, almost no matches or messages, depending on the site. The biggest fail in my ex. We spent 5.5 years together. I was super supportive of her, getting her on her feet in life, covering expenses for the first 2 years until she stabilized, helped her find her first job, helped her through college, helped her get her first job after college, helped her with her first job after college. But then the moment I start struggling with money / finding a job, we moved across the country for the one she got, she kicks me out. I mean, I was struggling for a while, about a year. A month after she kicked me out, I managed to land a job. Good times. Make profile. 0 matches. Give up and delete. Wait 1 to 2 years. Make profile. No matches. Give up and delete. Now that 100% of the platforms lock you out of messaging, unless you're being matched first, online dating is pretty much dead to me. Finding a wonderful guy and then cancelling the date last minute because I wasn't over my ex. Joke's on me, we rematched 10 months later. He gave me shit about my behavior last time and told me because of that I had to come up with an idea now. March will mark our 1-year anniversary. I was swiping through profiles so fast that I accidentally swiped left on a girl I wanted to match with, used Tinder Find to get her info, and messaged her on FB. Thought she would appreciate the effort, but ended up thinking I was a creep and blocked me. She was being flirty, but I just kept asking how's your day going, what are you up to, and other generic questions until she stopped and never messaged me back. Getting a free trial of Tinder Gold on an act I'd had for at least 8 months in 3 main geographic locations and proceeding to swipe right on every single one of the guys that had liked me, all 2,500 of them. Nothing other than anecdotes and thousands of messages has come of it yet. Also, I did this at 9 PM the night before a huge college math exam. Procrastination at its finest. Actually met a smart tall blonde girl on Facebook. Was smooth as hell and got her to go out with me. She was an hour late to our date, but showed up. Unfortunately I got blackout drunk during that hour. Also lost the friend host comment I met her on. For the last 5 years, my biggest Tinder fail was when people would look at my profile and see that I'm Asian and then not read the very first thing that I've written, which is that I'm 5 feet 10 or 1.77 meters. And then they would be shocked when I show up at or above eye level. One person had the gall to tell me he had a great time, but I really thought you were more, you know, petite, while gesturing at my figure and then compacting it. That is no longer the worst thing to come out of Tinder. A few months ago I went on a date with a self-proclaimed communist. He said this loudly in a Chinese restaurant. When asked what kind of communist philosophy he was drawn by, he replied, oh you know, normal communism. Not North Korea communism, and all I could think of was how most communist countries were totalitarian regimes who starved their people, and wondered if this is what he meant by normal. He proceeded douse the stir fry we ordered with chili oil instead of partitioning off a serving for himself and seasoning that. It stood out to me as a particularly classless cherry on top of a heaping shit sundae. Not having enough money to go on dates. Bruh, not a problem, an opportunity. If you put in a little effort and come up with some ideas for really inexpensive or free dates, a quality date that proves you put some thought into it can also help weed out bad matches who, for example, are just looking for a free meal. Agreeing to meet up with a guy whose profile said he was in prison for several years for a non-violent felony. High school me was stupid. The guy had a foot fetish and was a depressed control freak. I thought I had a pretty sick pickup line, which was quote, you're so cute you make a baby D look like a pile of shit. Needless to say, I'm still single. Only met up with one from all the matches I had. He looked like Orlando Bloom. Got so nervous, although he was very nice to me. Turned out he just wanted 6, and I left, haha. Not realizing that the guys who look like they don't have much going on are normally the chill, kind, humble kind of guys I'm looking for. Just met the most amazing one. Also, anytime a guy says he is a nice guy, run. Met an art student off Tinder and we went down to the river to smoke weed late one night. I was having a really good time and she was very sweet, funny, and chill up until this happened. We are sitting on a hill by a small road when a cop rolls by slowly. I start putting the weed away and that's when this 4'11", glasses wearing, dyed hair having weeaboo art student decides it's the perfect time to shout, fuck the police. What? I ask wide-eyed and frantic. Yeah, all cops are pigs. Again, yelling. Not screaming or anything, but she's loud enough and he's close enough to hear us if he had his window down, which I guess he did because he shined his flashlight on us. What the fuck are you trying to do? I ask, literally in a fucking panic. Did you know 40% of cops beat their wives? No? Yeah dude, cops are trash. I'm an anarchy communist. Cops are completely unnecessary.